One of them, guys, is the Game Pass story. So I probably should have put it next to the other one, but I definitely think it's worth discussing because we did touch on Game Pass and some interesting news in that world. Riot's Xbox Game Pass deal could save players over $1,500. I thought very catchy title. So League of Legends developer Riot Games dropped something major at the Xbox and Bethesda Games Showcase. And basically what they said was all of the champions in League and Wild Rift, as well as all of the agents in Valorant, if you have a Game Pass subscription, all of them will be free. So a huge amount of content there that they're including in Game Pass. It says 160 champions in League of Legends. I didn't even know we were up to that many. 19 agents in Valorant. So they did the math here, and they figured out that everything included has a value of just over $1,500. Does anyone think this is, we talked about putting COD on Game Pass being potentially game changing. Is this maybe even bigger? Like, or I don't know, or is this again a nothing story and just another sort of the many things that are going to be on Game Pass?
It's definitely not a nothing story. I mean, it's also definitely, I don't think, bigger than COD going to make Game Pass. But I think it's important. They're just adding more like incremental value to this subscription. I'm curious how much you guys think Microsoft had to pay Riot for this.
Right. That's the true question, because I actually disagree with the second part of your statement, Jeff. I think it's a huge deal. I think a lot of people grind really hard to unlock these characters. I think by making them instantly available, that there's a huge now incentive to get Game Pass for diehard gamers or for people that have been, like you have to save up for that in-game currency or pay for it to unlock certain characters. And then you have to grind again to get the next one and the next one. And now you can have it just by getting the Game Pass. It's really, what did Microsoft pay for that? I think is the true question. I'm curious maybe if it's a rev share based off of the amount of signups that they get directly related to this. If Riot was clever in that regard and had faith in its product, or if it was just a flat fee because it's easy, it's the first of its kind, and let's just take it for this, and that's a win.
And also, I imagine once you stop using Game Pass, you lose all those players, right? No, Chris says no.
I thought it said in the article
it was
that
confirmed that if you get it, you keep them, even if you leave Game Pass.
Because that would have been good. Because that would have been great. That would have been great retention.
That was confirmed.
Yeah. Oh wow.
No, I read the small print because I thought this was coming to console, which is why I got excited for a second. I was like, oh, fantastic! We're opening up to a non-PC audience, and so F1 racing. I love it. So I'll pose a question back to you guys in terms of, Game Pass is this more of a North American audience? Because I still question, with LCS numbers not necessarily growing year over year so exponentially, how big is League of Legends really? And maybe this is something where Riot's like, hey, we need to really up our own numbers to get more people to play our games. Because, again, I've grinded League of Legends and I was like, I give up. I can't do this anymore. But I'm not the market.
This is the famous question we always ask: who benefits more?
Right.
Here?
Seriously,
I don't want to answer first. So who?
No, you jumped the gun on it. Go ahead.
Definitely, I think Microsoft. The answer is always Microsoft. They always benefit more. No, I think just what we said. I don't think many people who are on Game Pass are going to start playing League of Legends because they can level up.
Right.
I think you will see people join Game Pass because of what Jimmy just said. Hey, I needed to grind or I needed to spend a bunch of money. I'll just join Game Pass instead. Thus, Microsoft wins. But I'm very curious to hear what you guys think.
I think Riot benefits.
Well, they benefit. But you think they benefit more?
Yeah.
Really?
You think they're going to attract a ton of new players through this?
North American audiences, 100%. I mean, Valorant, as big as it is, isn't growing as fast as we'd like it to be. Apex is still really pushing, first-person shooter market is very congested. Team fight tactics, is that something that we talk about at the bar? No. It's just a lot of the titles, while I'm excited about them, have an opportunity to open it up to more people. I do think it opens up to a lot more people versus your hardcore PC audience.
David says, is it consensus that Riot is working on a League of Legends MMO for release in the next few years? Yes. It's not just consensus; it's confirmed, David. Confirmed by Riot. So absolutely happening. David says the thing about cloud gaming sub-libraries and Epic Store is that they're for new entrants not enough value prop to remove the sunk cost of those who already play / own. True. I mean, every user is going to do their own math, right? Like if you already own half the champions in League, does the extra $10 a month on Game Pass, is it worth it for you if you've already unlocked half of them or 3/4 of them? That feels like a sort of a case by case basis kind of question. You say, sorry, go ahead, Chris.
No, I'm looking right now at monthly player counts, and the numbers are very much plateaued. So this may be more. The last 30 days, 126 million monthly players. That's a lot of people. Don't get me wrong.
Just 126 million.
Right.
There's a lot of games that are bigger than that.
But that 120, is the same number since as far back as December 30th, 2020. So what's up?
But like you reach like the whole audience. Like how many more people do you expect to get?
Well, this is why we have to ask the question.
There's no game that's bigger. You're not going to get.
But that's why they did the move, because they need to find some growth.
I also think every year you have younger kids that are aging up into the sophistication and the ability and growing in their own gaming journeys that will start to adopt the game. So I don't know if I agree that like there's only a certain amount that you can ever capture. I will say as far as who wins, it's a sliding scale. It depends on how much Microsoft paid, if anything. The more Microsoft paid, the more Riot won. Right. And I think there's great arguments on both sides, but it completely depends on what that arrangement was. And without knowing that, it's hard to crown a winner.
Can I give you guys my tinfoil hat theory? Sorry, go ahead, Ben. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, are there longtime League players that are like pissed about this? They did the grind. They earned all those players. And now like someone can come in and just buy access.
Those are the worst kind of people. It's like the
same
people that
are student loans.
Exactly. It's like, oh, you're getting rid of student loans. Like, I paid mine off. Okay.
They'll get a free digital title, though. They'll get like a OG, title, and that'll make it worth it for some reason.
Guys, my tinfoil hat theory, and I'm curious what you guys think of this. Can we assume that Microsoft is not taking a loss on this in some way, right? In other words, that if they believe the average length of a Game Pass customer is, pick a number, 2 months, because people subscribe and then they cancel, right? And the value of that customer is therefore $20, that they're not paying Riot more than what they believe is the average value of that customer to them, right? This is not a loss leader for Microsoft in some way to grow Game Pass. I'm taking that as an assumption, right? And so therefore, Microsoft's paying a relatively small amount to Riot, second assumption. But if that's true, if both of those assumptions are true, does this maybe say that Riot's monetization of their game is maybe worse than what everyone thinks, right? Like, yes, it costs $1,500 to buy all these champions, but maybe the average spend of a League player is only like $3. Right? Like maybe on average, people spend only a very, very small amount. And therefore, what they get from Microsoft is greater than the average spend on for the average user on champions. You guys follow what I'm saying here?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's a free-to-play game. So you're probably right that like the average League player, probably doesn't spend anything. And then even the people who do spend probably don't spend all that much. You probably have a very small percentage of whales that maybe spend like a ton, but I don't think the average player spends that much.
So maybe this is a bit of a monetization bailout for Riot's bulk of players who maybe don't spend that much money on the game directly, but may see value in Game Pass, and therefore, you see what I'm saying?
I would say that it's one of the rare. I mean, I think we covered a very similar story where I forget what it was, but it was also Game Pass being given away alongside. I think it was a Comcast subscription, and we said I think it's like there are instances where it can be win-win-win, right? Like I think this is a win for Microsoft. Yeah. I think it's a win for Riot, and I think it's a win for players, except for the few people that grinded every hero and they're like, oh, I just wasted like 40 years of my life. So yeah, those people lose, but I think everyone else wins.
They probably weren't very happy anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
The only thing I want to add, and it's worth noting, is this is a digital good, right? It's not like Riot is out of pocket any longer on any of this. So at the end of the day, you have Microsoft potentially and likely exchanging dollars. You have players exchanging dollars. You have Riot that's just sitting on IP that everyone wants and everyone wants to pay for. So I get the argument, Chris, about the plateaued users. I think it's a great argument, especially when you put the data in front of us. We're like, hey, this isn't just 6 months, this is 2 years. But I mean, what are they out really? They've already paid to develop these legends, these characters. All they're doing is finding a new way to monetize them. So I get also Paul's argument, but it's just like, hey, we tried one thing, it worked for a long time. Let's try something different, right? Why not? What do we have to lose? Literally nothing. We're just trying to find more revenue or rather like kind of look in the couch cushion and see if there's a couple coins in there.
Chris, just to pick into your point a little bit, because I think I disagree with your premise. Do you think that there will be more people who have the Game Pass subscription that never played Riot's games that say, hey, because I have Game Pass, I'm going to start playing these games that were already free to play? Or 100%. Do you think it's the people that, hey, I already play, I'm in this league ecosystem, I have 120 million people. There's probably a lot of them that are like what Jimmy said, I don't want to grind, I don't want to spend money. I will spend the $15 to join Game Pass, and then Microsoft's making some assumptions around how long they keep. Because I think it's way more the latter than the former.
No, I think it's the former. I think it's the first, because at the end of the day, we've all stopped talking about Dota 2. You know, I mean, literally people were going to Dota 2 because they get all the champions for free. Now you just said, hey, guess what, guys? You can have it all over here too. So outside of the big esports tournament, hey, League of Legends now just leveled the playing field with Dota in terms of I have all the characters for free. And again, tie into your Arcane and all these other, you know, and I'm always the guy who's always pushing, what's the mainstream play here? How do we get the normies in here? Now you have people who are playing Arcane, then Wild Rift, now going to Game Pass. You might get a whole new audience.
It'll be interesting to see. I just want to catch up on comments, guys. Isai says, in response to David, I think so. They have job postings up on their website for it and says that they're working on one. Yeah, again, on the MMO, totally confirmed. David says, gotcha, thank you. Hardware Barbecue says, wow, more people. Hardware Barbecue, welcome. You missed so much good show if you just got here. Isai says, no problem. Samuel says, I think they both need each other and both companies have the foresight to see that. Remove friction to access more content will increase the amount of gamers. All ships rise with the tide. I mean, no question, right? Like, this is a win-win on all sides. It's just always interesting to dissect, Samuel, like, who's getting the extra penny more, who benefits a little bit more, right? I mean, that's always the interesting conversation. Isai says just 126 million people. It's a lot of people. I wonder how many people who have Game Pass have a PC as well, or is League on console as well? League is not on console. Riot is, at least for a long time, was notoriously PC only. So, I mean, but that doesn't, I mean, Game Pass has a PC offering. I don't know how popular it is relative to the full offering or the console offering. Like, I'm not sure how their subs break down, but they do have a PC offering.